What a vibe.
Right?
Hi guys, welcome back to the Eclectic ADHD podcast. I am your host B, and that's your co-host Dakota. Um, we just get in it with some questions as
Yeah.
usual.
Yeah. I say that works for me.
Cool beans. Um, what's your favorite number? Is the first question.
7.
Why? That's the most basic number.
Don't know. Just 7.
Just seven.
Yeah. It all started when one person asked me one day, just like, list a number off the top of your head. It's 7. And anytime I've ever been asked about a number or an answer, the answer is always 7.
My favorite number is six because, and there's a backstory to this. So when I was little, everyone's favorite number was seven. And I felt bad for number six because everyone went straight to seven. And I thought six was a little bit lonely. So I chose six to be my favorite number.
You are so fucking terrible.
That's why six is my favorite number. How often do you drink alcohol?
I don't. I used to. I used to be a very heavy alcoholic. But I realized that, when I drank, I did some questionable things in my life. And so I eventually just stopped doing it. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah. I don't drink alcohol. It does nothing for me. I can't get drunk. I drink myself sober. Um, why are you so bad at replying?
So what? That's a loaded question if I'm being honest. Why are you so bad at replying? Trauma. Don't like people. Stupidity. Everyone is stupid. 7.
I'm really bad at replying because if the conversation is so dull and so boring, I'm not going to interact with it. If you're not going to sit there and have an intellectual conversation with me, I'm not going to have it. Secondly, I have DID. I'm not always available to reply to people. I have shit going on in my life. It's not all just about you.
Rude. It should be about me.
It's
I,
not.
I should be the center of your world, goddammit.
Absolutely not. I will not be having that. I
Oh,
will
but
not
you
be.
want to be the center of mine.
Yeah, it's illegal if I'm not.
Why was that so quick of a response? Okay. All right, princess.
Do you have any idols?
Living or dead?
Just idols.
Oh, well, I idolized my Uncle Blake for the longest time. He was a mechanic. He was a race car driver. Him and my stepfather used to drive race cars together. And so I always idolized him. I mean, he had this really old, like steam powered train set that you had to add water to get it to run, which was for me at the time was just fascinating when I was a kid. So Uncle Blake was probably the person I idolized the most.
Um, this is such a common answer, but my dad is my idol. That man has been through so much, including but not limited to being captured by pirates. When he was away offshore, I think it was around Nigeria or somewhere like that, he got held captive at gunpoint by pirates. And I used to just be fascinated by that story when I was a child. Obviously, it was fucking horrible for him to live through, but like my dad survived that. My dad was basically fucking who is it? Captain Flint? No, that's a pub in Shetland. Captain someone. They made a movie about it. It had Tom Hanks in it.
I know what movie you're talking about. I cannot remember his name.
Neither can I. Captain's. I have to Google that.
Yeah, they got held up by by Nigerian pirates.
Captain Phillips. That's what it, yeah, Captain Phillips. That's what that was.
I couldn't remember.
My
Yeah.
dad was basically fucking Captain Phillips. Actually, genuinely, when I was little, I thought that movie was about him. And I was like, Dad, why did they change your name to Phillips instead of Peter? Because that's your name. And Dad was just like, this film's not about me. And I'm like, but that happened to you as well. And he was like, yeah, but I'm not popular enough to be made a film of, apparently. And I was like, that's sad. I'll make a film for you. And Dad was like, please don't. um, yeah, dad's my absolute idol, and I love him so much. And I'm definitely a daddy's girl. Absolutely nothing's gonna change that. Nothing.
Yeah.
Ew. Sorry to whoever asked this question. What's your favorite iced tea?
I don't drink iced tea.
Not once in my 21 years have I drank iced tea.
But
I
I will
just,
say this about the iced tea thing. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. My bad. Um, I grew up in the north. Sweet tea is not a thing up there. It's unsweet iced tea. It's not a thing. People don't make sweet tea. So,
um, yeah, no, not once in my 21 years have I drank iced tea. I just I'll drink iced coffee all day long. I love a good iced coffee, but I just something about iced tea makes me want to rip my skin off. I don't know how to explain it. It's the exact same as iced coffee, but tea, and I love tea. So I think I would like it, but just the thought of me drinking a cold cup of tea makes me want to peel my skin off. I don't like it. I do want to explain to the people on YouTube that's watching, not the people on Spotify that's just listening, um, or to anyone that's just listening in the background. My hair looks like this because I just got out of the shower and I had my hair up, so I didn't have a chance to dry. Also, I got new glasses. Um, Very insecure about them still, but apparently I suit them according to a lot of people. I think they're all lying to me, but here we are. Um,
my hair is just like this because I'm naturally handsome.
yeah, I really like what you've done with your hair. I didn't know you could style your nose hair like that. um,
Love you too.
I love you so much. So I think we were going to talk about our discussion. So that's all the questions. That's all of them.
Really? That's all we got this time?
That's all we got.
Hmm.
Um, I need to go onto my Google Docs really quickly to pull up the um, discussion. Oh, I don't have it in here. That's annoying. Um, Hold on just 2 seconds. I don't think I'm in the right thing. What? Why are
Nothing.
you why are you laughing at me?
Because you're adorable and I love you so much.
Don't Okay, well okay, so we're just gonna wing it because I can't so trigger warning to everyone before we have this discussion. Um we are going to be talking about abuse, so that will involve all the types of abuse. Um, there's no specific because like I have so many that I'm open to talking about, and I've gone through pretty much every type of abuse there is. So just trigger warning for all of the above.
All right.
Um, I want to kind of talk about and touch on what it's like to live with abuse, the trauma from that, what it's like How do you feel being in a relationship with someone that's got so much drama?
Hmm. It's difficult because you have to be a little bit more aware of the things you do, the things you say. Um, I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even realize that me just walking through the house kind of upset you because of how heavy stepped I am. That, because when I walk through my house, you can hear me walking if I have, especially if I have my boots on, you can hear it from across the house. I'm because I've got all wood floors except for in the bedrooms that have carpet. But when I walk to the laundry room, which is on the other side of the house from where my bedroom is, which is behind that wall right there, you can hear me walking through the entire house. And I didn't, for the longest time, I didn't realize that kind of triggered you, that kind of upset you because of some of the stuff that happened to you. So to start being more attentive to things that come naturally, the way I talk, the words that I say, how quick I say things, even how quick my emotions tend to rise. Because I have ADHD, my emotional state is it's either 120% or 5. There's no real in between. I don't get half worked up and then, I'm fine. No, it's if I'm getting worked up, I go all the way. There's no way to stop that. Um, so learning to that if I get excited and I start talking really fast, that you start to panic, that I need to be more controlling of the how quick I speak, which for someone with ADHD is rather difficult. Because it just comes naturally. It just happens. So learning to slow down my words, learning to slow down my speech as to not frustrate or upset you in any ways is it's difficult. You know, it's not something I've ever had to do, so it took a long time for me to figure out how to do it. And to be honest, when I get excited, my voice is not this deep. Doing stuff like this and talking directly to her where she has no escape from how fast my voice goes, I've learned that if I deepen my voice, I talk a little slower, which helps, but it also does other things. She likes when my voice goes deeper. It excites her. I'll go that. It excites her because for some reason, even if I was to just go princess, she blushes just like she is now, and she smiles and she giggles and she buries her face just like she just did. Um, and that's just me slowing down my voice. I mean, essentially I had to learn to go through the entire day whenever I'm around her with the sleepy voice. That's the only way that I know that I can completely control the speed of my voice, the speed of my words. So learning to do that was a tasking process. Because when you first wake up, you're not paying attention to the level of your voice or the decibel level of your voice. So I had to force myself to wake up and start remembering and focusing on the level of my voice the moment I open my eyes. And that's not easy or always able to be done, especially when you're like in and out of sleep all night long. It's very difficult. It's really easy today to do this because I got some shit sleep last night, but so my voice, I'm tired as hell. I mean, it looks like I'm tired, and that's because I am. But learning to change how I talk, how I walk, how I sit down, because yeah, I'm not a light guy. I admit that I'm not light. I'm rather heavy, and when I sit down, I sit down. It's you can tell I've sat down somewhere, put it that way. So it's like learning, and the best way I can describe it, it's like learning to walk on eggshells when the eggshells aren't in the room. Does that make sense? It's like, okay, you're looking out a window looking for eggshells, and you're stepping where it would be available to step if there were eggshells. So it's like stepping on an invisible path that you can only see through a window. So it's difficult, but it's not something that I have any problem doing. It makes my partner happy. It makes my partner comfortable. It's something that in a relationship you should do. If your partner is uncomfortable with the way you talk, the way you walk, hell, even how heavy your steps are, and it triggers them because of some abuse, you need to figure out a way to compromise and fix that. The compromise that she proposed was just don't ever go nowhere, stay in bed all day long. You stay and cuddle. It was all cuddles, just cuddles. We don't have to get out of bed, don't gotta do nothing, just stay and cuddle. And that's not something that I can do. I have ADHD. I can't do that for long periods of time. So to find a compromise of I mainly walk on the I always forget what it's called, but I basically walk on my toes throughout my house. I walk a little faster now as well because the less steps that I have to take, the less I have to focus on how I'm walking. And there's times if I'm sick, which I don't exactly sound the greatest right now because I've had something with my sinuses and a cough lately. I'm not sure what it is. But if I'm sick or I'm exhausted, yeah, I'm essentially stomping through the house. But that's also a sign for her that if I'm doing that, it's because there's something wrong that I am actively fighting off, whether it be I'm sick or I am exhausted and need to sleep and am refusing to sleep. She knows the ways to get me to comply. We'll go with comply because I'm still arguing as she's leading me to the bedroom to go to sleep. So it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Um, while you were talking, I went onto the Google Docs and snapped a quick picture. Because I can't do this. I can't have an organized podcast and not remember what I was meant to say specifically. That was making me want to peel my own skin off. uh, how the abuse that we've went through affects us daily. Um, oh no, I need to say what it's like being in a relationship with you who has trauma. Um, it's very easy because I have so much trauma, so I know exactly what to do in certain situations. I would say it's very, very easy for me. It wasn't at the start when I was trying to learn because he did not open up at all about any of his traumas. So it was very difficult to try and. It was like trying to swim forward in a straight line when you're in a wave pool. That shit just does not happen. Um, and it's two steps forward, one step back. It just wasn't happening. And then he opened up about his trauma, and it made things so much easier because I knew exactly how to deal with certain things that not even he knew how to deal with, but I knew how to deal with them. So I taught him how to deal with it, and now we're all Gucci. Um, but there is certain it's difficult in aspects of trying not to get triggered myself when he's triggered because him being triggered triggers me. So it's having to sort of put my stuff to the side for a second to calm him down so that he can then calm me down for triggering me. It's difficult. It's very difficult, but we manage it. Or we just do like we need to leave each other alone because we're just adding fuel to each other's fires and it's not great.
Yeah, we did that yesterday, actually. I spent most of the day yesterday playing Fallout 76, which I am considering starting to add that into the stream. Considering is the key word. But I spent most of the day yesterday playing video games because she had had a rough couple days. She's her social battery was essentially completely depleted right when she first woke up. So she didn't have much, and it wasn't really much she wanted to talk about. She just kind of essentially while I was playing video games, she wanted to be sitting on the couch beside me, scrolling on TikTok or watching a video on her laptop or reading a book. She just wanted to be in the same room with me and know that I was there and that I knew that she was there and that if any of us needed something, all we had to do was ask without having to be, are you okay? Do you need water? Do you need food? Are you okay? Full conversations. Um, and that was something that we did because she was of her. But there are times where I just look at her and I go, I can't be bothered to fucking do shit today. I can't. I just want to be a lazy bum. I end up not being a lazy bum 90% of the time. I feel like that because I go, I want food. And then I go to make food and I just want something small, like a bowl of soup. And I realize I don't have any clean bowls. Because miraculously, I had 8 bowls at one point, right? You remember that, right? I only have 3 now.
Yeah,
I have no idea where they went.
this is exactly because you don't clean up as you go, and you misplace things, and things go missing. And if you just listen to me, they wouldn't happen, but you don't.
But yeah,
So,
I've got 3 bowls, 2 plastic ones, 2 microwavable ones, 1 ceramic one. And then I still have the 2 little ice cream bowls that we got. For some reason, those are like always together.
why are we talking about bowls right now?
But and I realized I was like, okay, well, because we were talking about me wanting to be lazy and unproductive, and then realizing I can't because I don't have what I want and need to be lazy and unproductive. So I ended up doing like washing dishes by hand or throwing them in the dishwasher and starting it up, and then just grabbing making a sandwich real quick and holding it in my hand, walking back into here to sit down at my Xbox and eating a sandwich barehanded without a plate or anything. I grab a napkin and that's what I set it down on. That's what goes on it. And so a lot of times I end up being productive, but and then there's times where it's like the one day where I just had a whole ass meltdown because I wanted to be in comfy clothes. I wanted to be in my sweatpants and my hoodie and be in the comfy clothes and I went looking for them and found them in the washer that I had started the night before and completely forgot. So I had to restart them, go back in there, change them over, put them in the dryer. So it was like 3 hours before I was able to be in my comfy clothes, which just infuriated me even more. And I had basically an entire freaking meltdown because of it. So I have forgotten what the point of this conversation was.
What mental health illnesses or physical illnesses did you get from the abuse that you went through?
Ooh, going into too much detail. There was a lot of emotional abuse. There was a lot of mental, and there was a lot of physical. Um, most of what I walked away with is I have PTSD. Um, I've got PTSD from multiple things, unfortunately. I am not diagnosed with PTSD except for one aspect. I was diagnosed for PTSD from a time period that I choose not to discuss on this podcast. Doctor confirmation diagnosed through my therapist. But they haven't diagnosed it with any of the other stuff. So I have PTSD, but it's related to a specific thing. But there's still the trauma and stuff, and flashbacks and stuff like that, and the anxiety that comes with it, and stuff like that. But um, so I've got anxiety, I've got depression. I mean, my self-esteem plummeted. I mean, from you look at how I dressed and how I acted in high school to how I dressed and how I acted after the traumatic events, it was like a 180-degree turn. I was happy, I was smiling, I was confident in high school, and then suddenly it was I'm just gonna stay inside because I don't want people to see me. People don't want to see someone who looks like me. I'm not attractive. I And it just self-esteem just plummeted because of it. So there's a lot of different things you can get from stuff like that. I'm not going to go into too much detail because not even my therapist knows most of the stuff that I've gone through. B knows almost everything. Um,
Almost.
well, yeah, because you know what I know
Oh
or what
yeah.
I remember. I mean, there's things that I don't remember that I know for a fact have happened, and I mean, it's something I have no memory of. So how can that affect me if I have no memory of it? And it's not like it's a repressed memory. I mean, this shit happened when I was like less than 5 years old. I have absolutely no memory of it. So, but it's a lot. I talked to my parents here recently about a lot of the stuff that happened and have opened up to them a little bit more over the years. And it's sad that it took me turning 28 for that to finally happen. But it was good conversation. I've also forgotten what the fuck we were talking about again.
The illnesses that I got from my abuse. So a lot of people have come from TikTok. You all know that I have dissociative identity disorder. I've been diagnosed for over a year now with that. Um, I have depression, anxiety, autism, ADHD. Um, what else do I have? Oh, PTSD. I just I have a bunch of things, and all that is from mainly one trauma, and that trauma being, I don't know if I can say it. I was SA'd at the age of 5, um, by a family member. I will not go into much detail because
The actions that should have been taken against that said family member have already been taken. So there's no point in dwelling on what happened. I'm just giving it context for the viewers and the listeners so they have an
yeah,
understanding. Results of the court case were not what they were supposed to have been or what you were hoping they would have been. And we were running out of time already. Jesus. And
wow.
do what?
What do you mean we're running out of time?
Says we're running out of time. Says we got 10 minutes left.
That's fine.
And so that
Well, if you
has
would
been handled.
let me speak, it would be really nice.
My bad.
The illnesses I got were, DID. That's my main one. That's my main fucking issue, and that is due to all the trauma and abuse that I suffered. Um, do you wish that you weren't with someone with trauma?
Do I wish I wasn't with someone with trauma? No. Do I wish I was someone without trauma? Yes. Just before somebody asks that. Um, it makes things interesting. It makes you look at a relationship a little differently. It makes you change some aspects of yourself that you can't ever guarantee a relationship is going to last. But the information and the knowledge I have gained from being in this relationship and the things that I have done to better improve my ability to be in this relationship is something that I will keep for a long period of time. So it
Mm.
either will continue to help us, or should you decide you want to just fuck off, better not, bitch. Cut your fucking toes off. Um,
Anyway, what went through your head when I told you about the abuse from my exes?
um, this is where I'm gonna be a bit of an asshole. When you first told me it was so dramatic and so severe that there was a part of me who questioned the legitimacy of the claims because I had never met anyone who had again and again and again and again such severe and traumatic events happen. I mean, you don't. The likelihood of somebody having those events happen back to back like that I'm pretty sure I could win the lottery a lot sooner than finding someone like that. So for me, who is always skeptical on everything that goes on, meeting someone like you who has all this stuff, it's just like either she's telling the truth, in which case, what the fuck? Or she's doing this for attention, in which case, there's something behind why she's doing that. One of the events is probably true, and it's probably the most dramatic and traumatizing one of them all that has changed the very way she thinks and needs someone to accept her for who she is so that she can feel comfortable to be honest with that. Because there's a lot of people who go through, and I'm going to say this is controversial as hell, a lot of people who go through a lot of those traumas and those rapes and stuff like that, and they end up becoming pathological liars. They end up becoming shit people because they were denied and they were, you know, told that they were making things up and stuff like that because a lot of childhood abuse like that a lot of times is not reported. It's just let go and it either continue happening or it just stops. I mean, people don't always believe the 5-year-old who says, "Hey, this person did this to me." They're not always going to believe it, especially when it's a family member. So
Do you believe
it's
me now about my
oh yeah. I
exes?
mean, after the whole court case thing and you going away and everything that has happened and your constant reactions to every time you ran into him. Yeah.
Why
I
are you talking about that? I'm talking about my exes.
well, as the court case is what has also helped. I'm not specific. When you run into him, you know which one I'm talking about because it's the one who won't leave you the fuck alone.
None of them will leave me alone.
Yeah, but that one specifically is the one that has constantly, over the last 4 years, has been a constant problem. Except for the one who's a bit crazy. Bit worried about that one.
Are we talking about H or Z?
H.
H. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
H and T. Your reactions to them is what made me believe everything that happened because it's just constant. I mean, the moment it happens, it's like a flip is switched. And someone who's lying about something that happened doesn't have that flip switch. That switch flip doesn't have that happen as fast. And I mean, you've called me freaking out. You've been at work and called me freaking out because something happened. At first, there were times I didn't really. It's like, okay, that doesn't seem like that's that bad. What H did at first, didn't realize it didn't seem like something that was that bad until more information was given to me, until the rest of the story was given to me. Because at first it was always a cheating asshole. Okay, cool. Hate him. Yes, but not abusive. It wasn't until the rest of the information came out, the rest of the shit that happened,
We need
what
to
she
talk
did,
because
what
oh
what she
yeah.
did, what they tried to do, what happened. That shit is
Yeah.
where it becomes abusive. And
Yeah.
so then it's like, okay, now I see what's going on. It's never most times it's not at the start, it's bam, abuse. It's okay, they're okay, okay. Oh, they're an asshole. Okay, why is it still getting worse? Why is it still okay? What is okay? What's wrong with her that this kind of thing keeps happening?
I'm a very vulnerable person and I
Yes,
pick
you
the
are.
wrong motherfuckers. I fall constantly for the whole I will give you the fucking world. You are beautiful. I will give you the world. Please. I think I deserve that. And I'm like, here's the world, but it's got spikes all around it. It's like, oh my god, no.
And I think that over the last I'd say last 6 months. Your view on that has changed. I can tell your view on that has changed. You still want the world, but you also understand the entire world can't be given to you. It's not possible.
No, it's fucking possible. If
They
you
can give you a life. They can't give you the world.
if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah, really.
I deserve the fucking heavens.
You
I
realize I
de-
could just prove that statement, right?
how?
Very easily. I want to come over there. I want to move over there. I want you to move over
No.
here.
I'll move out there.
So at first I didn't really believe it, but over time, as the relationship deepened and I got to know more information, because let's be honest here, you weren't an open book when we first met. There was a lot of things you kept hidden, a lot of situations you kept hidden. I
There's
mean,
still
we were together 2 years before you finally told me about T and the other H, the one from America. It was 2 years before you told me about them, and they were a lot worse than the H, than the Z. The
yeah,
Z, don't get me wrong, was very physical, but that was
yeah.
the other H in America was psychological damaging, which to me is a lot more severe than physical.
Very unpopular opinion. Psychological and emotional abuse is a lot worse than physical abuse. You
Mhm.
can heal from the physical abuse, but what you can't heal from that is the emotional.
Yeah, but we're less than a minute, so
Okay. If you guys want to continue hearing more about this conversation, obviously we can go in a lot more detail about it
next time.
next time if you guys want to continue, because Dakota takes up all of our time with his absolutely ridiculous ramblings.
I have
Uh,
ADHD. I'm sorry. I'm not. I deal with
do
it.
you, good Christ, that's loud. This meeting is being recorded.
So I'm sorry. I have ADHD and I talk a lot.
Do not
Um,
use your ADHD as an excuse.
it's not. It's just it's something I'm working on. I'm working on trying to change that, and it happens a lot. Um,
It's fine.
it's very
It's just
difficult to overcome that.
it's fine. It doesn't actually fucking bother me. It's just really fucking funny. The fact that you started bringing your cutlery and silverware into this conversation had no place in it. Um, but yeah, if you guys want to hear more about the or to for us to further discuss the abuse as a conversation topic and shed more light onto it, um, let us know. Just let us know. I'll put up a poll um on this when I upload it. Um, I don't think there's anything else I really want to say.
All right.
Um,
The next one, I think what we're going to end up talking about is probably the disorders aspect. Um, that one would probably be a good one to go into. I know ADHD is not really much of a disorder, but we can discuss that on the next one if you want to.
I don't really mind. We'll talk about it further.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for chiming in and listening. If you leave a like or a follow on the podcast wherever you're watching it, whether that be on YouTube or Spotify, I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I will see you guys later next week.
That's maybe.